Bad writing is bad business, but getting it right is hard work. It costs more than time because analyst and author Josh Bernoff estimates it devours a massive $400 billion. What's more, 81% of people he surveyed complain they are frustrated by having to deal with poorly written material. So what are the content writing rules you need to know to write like a boss? Well, we're going to find out today on The Groove. I'm your host, Peggy Ann Saltz, and my guest today will share the rules she has followed to nearly double sales conversions in her own company and Build Lately, which is a technology that uses AI to learn your brand voice and turn blogs, videos, and podcasts into dozens of social posts. She's also an award-winning radio producer, engineer, voice talent with 25 years of national broadcast communications, brand building, sales, and marketing expertise. I want to welcome Kate Bradley Chernis, CEO and co-founder of Lately at Lately AI. Welcome, Kate. Great to have you.
Hello, Peggy. It's so great to be with you.
It's so great to have you back because I've done an interview with you elsewhere. And then in the course of discussing your company, we decided that what we really need to be doing is bringing these rules to a wider audience. So I just want to start with a little bit of your backstory here. You know, who are you? What inspired you to build Lately?
Thanks for asking, because this is the most fun part always, and especially as I was listening to you, I'm always thinking, gosh, that's me. I did those things,
Absolutely. And here we are to talk about them because we have to shine a light on this. This is great stuff, Kate.
Thanks. And it all layers into, where we are now. So I used to be a rock and roll DJ, Peggy. My last gig was broadcasting to 20 million listeners a day for XM satellite radio. The voice that I'm using now was not my radio voice. My radio voice is a little smoother, right? Because that's what you learn. And then from radio, I ended up owning a marketing agency where Walmart was one of my first clients. And I built a spreadsheet system. Remember yield spreadsheets, right? That got Walmart 130% ROI year over year for 3 years. So those are the two things that really helped fuel the bedrock for Lately's artificial intelligence. But the starting point is these rules, right? Lately learns from these rules first. It was because I was a fiction writing major also, Peggy, so let me throw that in there. And then, of course, I wrote like hundreds of commercials, thousands of commercials for radio. And in fiction writing, you break rules, especially as a poet, right? So I'm kind of a rule breaker.
I was going to ask you, though, back at Walmart, was it a content problem you were solving there? I mean, what was the pain point? Because you always have a problem and try to solve it. What was that problem?
As I looked at the Walmart project, it wasn't only Walmart, Peggy. It was Walmart and all of their franchises, Bank of America and all of theirs, AT&T and all of theirs, the IRS, United Way Worldwide and all of their constituents, and the National Disability Institute. So there are about 20,000 marketers at small, medium, and large companies, for-profit, nonprofit, and government. And so my first reaction was, what a mess, right? Because it was a mess. And I wasn't very nice about it. I was just amazed that the largest retailer in the world was like complete chaos here, and it surprised me. And so what I did for myself was to create a spreadsheet to organize the mess. So I thought, okay, whether it's social or paid ads or videos, or at that time it was radio media tours we were doing, people were willy-nilly placing ads in like what zip codes and what towns, and what did the ads say? Did they even in any way mirror what the press release said? All this pain point, right? So it was first to let's assemble the mess and categorize it, and then look at the messaging. Let's unify that. But then, we were just talking about our mutual friend, David Allison, who has really taught me and reminded me how multifaceted humans are. I was thinking about this at the Walmart project because we always say in marketing, consistency is king, but that's actually changing because people don't respond to the same message all the time, and they didn't then either. It was at the precipice of that. And so I was looking at, all right, if I have 20,000 marketers, I can't give them the exact same thing to say because their local networks respond differently. right? So we have to give them the ability to then curate the message in a way that's going to speak to the people around them, right? And that's a key understanding, in that, for a big giant corporation like Walmart to be willing to accept that, this is 2012, was kind of amazing. So to answer your question, like, it was first the consistency of what we were doing, like what was the effort, and then the message itself, and then the ability to localize it. And, if there's all these people writing the same blog or writing a different blogs, like, can we just make sure that they're saying the most meaningful bits, but in a way that's custom for their particular network? So that was part of it. And then the other part was reuse and redundancy. Okay, so if we need social media, this is, MySpace was just dying back then, okay? And nobody wanted to write 1,000 posts for Walmart to approve, because it would take decades to get those approved. And so I thought, well, let's kill a million birds with one stone. And I had a blog that I wrote. Every sentence was awesome because I wrote it. And I thought, why don't we make each sentence more like a teaser or a movie trailer towards the full thing, right? And put a link. And, you can massage the sentence just a little bit, where it's giving you just enough to want to click it and read more, because the headline, Walmart helps lift the poor out of poverty, was actually not very interesting to most people, right? Nonprofit do-gooders, who cares? But the stuff inside was more curious, and that's what we did. So Walmart approved, I'd get 40 posts out of each blog or newsletter or one page, or all this content that we were creating. Like, let's do the pillar method. That I did that before Gary. Sorry, Gary V. But Walmart already would approve it because they already had. So then we could disseminate the message and then teach people how to localize it. So long answer to your question.
Yeah, but you did touch upon Gary V. I was going to get to that because you have a lot of Lately fans and advocates. Maybe the biggest is Gary V. What's the story here? What's he doing lately, and what does that tell us about what you can do with Lately?
He's really a nice man. I'm so glad that I've met him. I've met him a few times now. I actually met him back in my radio career.
In real life, I just wonder, is he that energetic, or does he just chill for a moment?
Yeah. You can see, that's a really good, so you can see his mind working, and he's got other people telling him, this meeting can only last for 5 minutes because you do have another thing. And so you feel that energy around him, that he has minders. He's very good at being right here with you right now. And I find that very impressive for a person of his caliber. Lately isn't something he needs, to be honest. He has a team of actual people to do the hard work that artificial intelligence would do for you. But his customers are his Twitter followers, right? Everybody wants to be Gary. So he's been such a kind advisor and mentor to us. And I try not to bother him too much because he's so busy. But when I do, he always answers.
Well, talking about mentor and learning, that's why we're talking here, because bad writing is bad business. You just don't want to drag it with you into 2022. Not even counting the lost sales conversions, losing so much money. Now, you've brought your rules, proven to be effective because you have followed them to get a 98% sales conversion yourself. No paid ads, no cold calls, no cold emails. That's impressive. How did you manage that?
As recipients of sales and marketing messaging ourselves, meaning me and the people at my company, we don't like cold calls or cold emails and paid ads, and they just weren't turning us on. So do unto others is the golden rule, right? Why would I subject you to something that is annoying to me? And then because of both my experience in radio and Walmart, my uber power is actually B2C communications, right? I can turn fans into evangelists. Big difference, right? Evangelists work for you for free, and your long tail from them exponentially outweighs just the fan alone. In radio, I believe in the long tail because I was part of a very rare format. It's called adult album alternative that was fueled by long tail music,
Oh, we
meaning
have the
not the
same
hits.
taste then, Kate.
I bet we do. So what do you like?
Oh, I love alternative and indie, and so
Oh,
you're in
really?
there. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So,
I'm just like
Ryan,
rediscovering and totally enjoying because I didn't get it quite the first time around. I was too busy working. I'm really getting back into Alice in Chains, so I missed out on a lot.
Peggy, you are cool. I mean, I knew that already. Yeah, it's so, we can talk about the neuroscience of music for a second if you want to,
Okay.
which touches on this idea. So for Alice in Chains fans, right, you just made a major connection with anybody listening.
Mm.
And what we're talking about is nostalgia in part because music does that. It takes you right back. The reason I like this format so much is it mixes new music and old music, multiple genres, and album cuts. So just like you have at home, or at least we used to all have, your records that you actually listen to, maybe in order even. Ooh. And you're constantly comparing them and mixing them up in your life. And the algorithms don't have this yet. They're still missing this je ne sais quoi. How do I say this? There's a theater of the mind that goes on when you listen to radio or podcasts or music where the human has to fill in the blank and you have to allow for that. It's the same in writing, by the way, folks. The author has to allow for this other character to fill in the part of the blank here, your imagination. So when your brain listens to a new song, Peggy, it instantly is looking for all the familiar touch points as it can find in order to index that new song in the library of your brain, right? So your brain is probably looking for Alice in Chains touch points, for example, right? And when it does that, it draws forth nostalgia and memory and emotion. And these are all the things that underlie trust. Now, and trust is why we buy. It has to be there as part of any sales process. So when you write text, Peggy, I read your text and I hear your voice in my head. And it's your job as the author to give me familiar touch points to trigger nostalgia, memory, and trust, right? And my writing rules are designed to do the same thing, which is, by the way, the first thing that the AI references. So that's why it gets the 98% sales conversion. It's because it's looking to make you react.
Let's talk about some of those rules because what's really cool is that, AI learns your brand voice, turns it into a ton of content. You're talking about trust, and these are rules that I can follow as a writer to achieve this even without lately, to be honest. This is just the golden rules of how you need to write to express yourself and to engage and to earn the trust, right? Trust is given, it's earned. You have 10 of them. Now, I'm going to go through all of these in my companion post over on Forbes. So we're not going to do all 10, but I would like you to go through a couple that are really top of mind, that are really stand out, that it's like, okay, if you get the 10, that's fine. But if you get through these 4, you're going to be home free and on your way.
So the first one is my favorite for women especially, that I find I too am most guilty of, which is undercutting my own words and even speech with what I call weak words. So they might be like just, probably, maybe, think. So I just wanted to say hi,
Oh, yeah.
or,
I'm
you
guilty of
know,
that.
me
Just
too.
popping in, just a note to nag you and nudge
Yeah, right.
you,
To,
but
to
in a
get the thing
gentle
done.
way. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Right. And why do we do this? So I don't know about you, but I do it because I tease. I have resting bitch face in writing. I know I can just sound so curt and demanding. And I have a goal. I want you to actually do the thing I'm asking, of course. So I need to think about how you're reading it in your head. And so it comes off in a way that's appealing to you. And so I'll, accidentally undercut myself. But then I think, okay, is there another way I could do this where I could still be a CEO, a leader, ask you for what I need you to do in a way that makes sure you respect me and trust me and give me the authority that or express the authority that I have earned, but also makes you feel good, right? So sometimes you can do that by couching it. We all know the sandwich method, right? Or sometimes like an emoji helps, that kind of thing. But another part of that rule is the think. I think it's X, Y, Z. And what I found, especially in venture capital meetings, is that the moment I say I think something, I totally kill my authority because I should know it, right? I know. So what I like, this is rule number 2.
It's like Yoda here, do not try.
That's right. That's right. Only do, right? It's
Yes.
exactly true.
Yeah.
The wisdom is
Yeah.
pervasive. And so
Okay.
the next one is what I call it's vomit then edit, and this kind of ties in. So as you write, if you think about the writing part, the vomiting should be the shortest part of your effort. Just get it on the page, get it all out there, and then the real time comes in the editing. So going through and saying to myself, like, oh, did I use this word think or just or probably? Like, am I killing my own confidence or authority with how I'm saying these things? I mean, what it does first is it gets rid of the fear of the blank page, right? Peggy, just get it
True.
on.
True.
I find I like to move things around. Like I'm deleting also, but you can shuffle stuff. So another tip is don't bury the lead. I find that the lead is always at the bottom. The lead meaning like the lead story at the newspaper, right? Where it should be up top. But we were taught in school, right, to write. You write an essay, and
Yeah.
in the
You bring
beginning,
them into the story. And
there
we
you go.
stopped doing that, of course.
That's
Yes.
right. Yeah.
Totally get it.
So just put
What
it
what
right up top.
what about conversion? Because that's what's going to be a big thing for people. They want to write to get that CTA right. And I was surprised to read that the one that I always use, the one that many people always use, like check out our post or check out our video over on YouTube, that really doesn't cut it with you, Kate.
I know it's my pet peeve, kind of. It's so funny because I've done it too, and it's a little. I feel bad because people get a little embarrassed sometimes. But if you think about it, so when you say check out my blog or check out my podcast, you're not giving the listener or the reader any understanding of what the value is that they would get should they actually click or listen. So if I'm going to spend an hour listening to your podcast, like make it worth my while. Like why would I? What's in it for me, right? There's nothing wrong with thinking about that. We all do. And so it's your job again as the author to clearly and quickly communicate like what I will get. So in this podcast, we're going to give you like whatever, 3 practical writing tips you can use right today, guaranteed to increase your conversion up to 98%.
There you go.
Direct, but there you go.
That covers it. And that would get you interested. Exactly. So it's
Get you
more about
interested.
spelling it out, taking your audience a little bit by the hand.
Yeah.
You gave a lot of rules. We're up to 3, by the way, Kate. So we can go a little bit further. We can go up to 5. When you're talking about the conversion, is there something that's going to nail it for you? Is there one here amongst the rules that's so actionable, just so good that if you employed it Monday morning, you'd already start to see, well, maybe not a change for the better, but you would start to move up that slope to vastly improve what you're able to do with your writing, how you're able to influence people, how you're able to influence audiences. What might that be?
Boy, I'm thinking of 2 in combination. So there's an
Do the
advanced
2.
one and
Do the 2.
an
Go
easy
for
one.
it.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll start with the hard one first, Peggy.
All right.
And then, okay, so the hard one is using hashtags to contextualize what you've said. Instead of using them to glom on to a subject, like really think about what you've already said, and in a tight space, can you augment and enhance what's there with your hashtag, and use a hashtag, I challenge you, that is not an existing hashtag. So this is the hard thing.
So hashtags are not about what they used to be, which was like, oh, hashtag mobile marketing. And then when you search for it, you're going to find my post, which is not going to happen with the avalanche of content out there. So now it's like saying this is the cut to the chase hashtag that's maybe going to make you smile, make you think. Is that what it's about here?
Precisely, because you know what it does, double time that you're hitting on is it puts that voice out there, it gets your persona out there, and it makes people lean forward and wonder, who's Peggy? Who is this person? Like, I'll give you an example. One of our top performing hashtags is hashtag peeing my pants.
Okay. Please
Because that's,
impression, Kate.
because that's what I wrote when Gary Vee shared my Twitter post,
Oh,
right?
wow.
Yeah. So it's ridiculous, and I don't expect everybody to do that, but it's more. You see, you guys get the point. Like it's
Yeah.
you just want to use it as an extension, and so you get points for being clever. You do, right? I use real talk a lot. That's a hashtag that's not totally offensive. That lets you know, me and Peggy are going to get really deep into it. Hashtag real talk, hashtag, women in tech, for example. Now those are typical hashtags. They are, but like I'm
Yeah.
using it not as an indexing thing, but more as like the color. Easy one is to read what you write out loud. So when you're reading something, I'll give you an example here. So that you guys can all hear it in the moment. So this is a letter I got in the mail from West Elm. I shop at West Elm. And it says, "This certificate is issued for reward purposes and is a duplicate of the certificate you received by email." Can you guys hear that? This certificate is an issued for reward purposes, duplicate of the certificate. You can all hear me there's a box of rocks in my mouth. I'm tripping over that, right? Because this is not language I personally would ever use. Now, and so when I'm saying it out loud, if it's hard for me to say, it's hard for you to read.
Doesn't make a whole lot of sense either, Kate. I
It
mean,
doesn't make any sense, right? Because
it's a duplicate of something else, which means, okay, so yeah.
I saw you
So
were
it's real,
puzzled
it's
trying to figure
valid.
out.
It's like, okay, yeah.
What do they mean? What they mean, Peggy, is, hey, ding ding, we emailed you a second copy of the same coupon. You can't use both. That's what they're saying to me.
That's what they're saying.
Yeah,
So
right.
spell it out.
Spell it out.
I have one for you, Kate. I
Go
have
ahead.
one for you amongst your rules. And
Yes.
this is one I thought was really interesting because I have the feeling, and maybe our mutual friend, David Allison, who will be appearing on The Groove and in Forbes as well, with his new book all about how we are what we value, right? So we are what we value. And if that's the case, I would imagine it's going to be more important to explain the meaning of things. Now, we're in a situation where we have social posts, but you're saying leverage the why, answer that why question. What works for you then? Because, we are confined by space. Yeah. Just the character length alone. But it is important because I have the feeling that people will be wanting to know more about the why because they need to know if it aligns with what they value and what they're really thinking. So I see the importance, but there's also a difficulty. How would you balance that?
We all know who, what, why, how, where, when, right? Did I get all of them? I think I did. Now, there's a visual cue there, and visual is just like on a resume. Like you actually want to use actual numbers, not the numbers of words, because people scan writing and they're looking. You want to stop their eyeball and catch it, right? So the question mark does that for you. But with why specifically, why is always followed by because. Always, they're a pair. There was some book I was reading, and I can't remember which one it was, but they did a test where because in an email, a sentence starting with because, got 20% greater open rate than other emails. And it's because the word because resolves the why. And so that makes people trust you because you take away the friction or the question mark. You take away the, I don't know, the unanswer, the mystery. And then that gives you authority and trust, right? So it's all these little sequences. You can use it by not resolving it. So I'm gonna just back up and tell you guys to think about one more tip here, which is everything you do, as we mentioned before, Peggy, has an objective. Like there's a point to it. In social media, there's only two: click or share. Right? I want you to click or share. Both, yay, but these are the two. Now, in the case of the why, I'm thinking mostly about a click. So if I hide the because behind the click, if you have to click it to find out the because, then I'm playing with you, right?
Yeah.
So that's how I use that specifically, is to get you to take that next step action to move through. Now, as a small company, It's very difficult to get clicks because people don't trust you. So shares is where I go the most, and there's the long tail around shares, but I believe in the long tail because that's you're building up social proof, right? And I'm kind of going into another tippy here, but that the hashtags we're talking about go a long way for those shares, because that's, to your point, we can get the personality, the humor, all those things across. So those two things are always guiding, at least in social, what my writing is doing.
I want to open up a little bit to look at Lately for a moment. Now, it is a platform, but there are some changes coming to that platform. What's going to happen with Lately?
Yeah, we've done two things. We really listened hard. There's so many things that we've heard from our customers. Number one, the AI can be overwhelming. It can give you too much. And so we've learned how to simplify what the product delivers to you. Now, this is, kind of weird because you're like, you want less content? You want it to do less work for you?
They have the stress of choice probably because I've, full disclosure, I have it. I tried it out. It's like 90 things to look through. It's like, oh no, can't we just leverage just a few more and, just a few less rather and get to the point. So,
that's right.
So that's what you're doing. It's going to be less is better, perhaps.
Less is better. We'll rank them. Right now, the AI gets you 3/4 of the way there. The new AI will get you more like 90% of the way there. We've heard from customers, and I wonder what your experience is that, they really want to, they're so puzzled by the writing itself. So for example, if you start a sentence with a non sequitur, the AI will edit it out for you, right? Let's just do that for you. Or and trying to look at those writing patterns, the AI will write inline hashtags for you, because inline hashtags actually show a level of sophistication and get more shares than just putting a string of like 20 of them at the end. So that's part of it, is simplifying that, but then really doubling down on the AI. I mean, we taught the AI to write from scratch, Peggy, which is incredible. You'll start to see that probably more like the second quarter of the year. But it's learning from me now. So I've heard it say stuff like jumpin' Jehoshaphat, which is, things I say.
So, Kate, you are the AI, is what we're saying here.
It's true. Yeah. I mean, it's really true. It learns from me first, and then it learns from my brand, our 98% conversion, and then it learns from you and all of our other customers and your best practices. So it's been super fun, like figuring this out, and like also scary, Peggy. Like, for the first time ever, we're saying as a company, monthly recurring revenue does not matter. Product-led growth matters. So let's just ignore the revenue and make sure that every customer is so delighted that they can't help but talk about us. And the AI, we talk a lot about it. It has to work with a human to get the magic. And that's hard for people to understand a little bit, but it also really helps dispel the fear of AI. Like, it cannot exist without a human. It just can't. And this magical combination is how you get that 98% sales conversion, by the way. The AI can't run on its own. It's too cold, right? And so, like, the messaging that I've been focusing on and testing is the world's most human AI.
Do we know what the new brand is?
It's still Lately.
Okay, it's still Lately, but the messaging is more human AI.
The messaging is more human, yeah, and really doubling down on the writing and less on the social media publishing, because that's fine, but what we're great at is AI.
I can say I welcome that, and you've been more than human, Kate, in our discussion, so I can see where that sort of closes the loop as well. As I said, you and the company, you're one and the same. It's been so great to have you, hear what you're doing, and of course, those rules that I hope people will follow to write like a boss. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
So thanks so much for sharing, Kate, and thank you for tuning in. More to come, of course, in the series, more opportunities to connect, more interviews. In the meantime, of course, as I always say, knowledge is for sharing, so spread the word, tell your tribe, like the show, share it, subscribe to the channel, all of the above would be amazing. And if you want to find out more about how you can be a guest on the show, well, DM me or email me, Peggy@mobilegroove.com. Until next time, this is Peggy Ann Saltz, signing off for The Groove.